Now, brings us to our major first segment of the episode. We've done the right back. Oh, what do we do? We did left backs.
So we did top 5 keepers.
Top 5
and then
keepers.
We did top 10 right backs.
Top 10 right backs.
Yep.
So now we're at top 10 centre backs.
Oh, God.
Which, the thing is, I think all these names deserve to be around there. Just the order.
Yeah.
The order, I think
there's a couple of maybe unlucky ones that would be like 11th, 12th.
Yeah, there's a lot of great centre backs in the moment, especially with the way people play their football. Everyone looks like Hollywood at the moment. So, interesting the order we got them in. I think there'll be some disagreements. I think the names will be the same. Yeah.
Maybe one or two
different ones. That could be,
you never know.
Spanners in the works.
Yeah.
Do you want to get hit off number 10?
All right. Number 10, I've got Jonathan Tah.
We got him in.
Yeah.
Okay, good for him.
He scored 4 goals this year, and a couple of them have been laid on, like in the cup, and a couple in the league as well. But I think for a team that's conceded about 15 goals in the league, he's the leader of that defence. Again, maybe for the future, you'd probably say Hincapié might be a better buy, might be a better player. Yeah. But right now, Hincapié couldn't have that sort of freedom on the left to maybe push forward a little bit with the ball. Yeah. If he doesn't have a guy like Jonathan Tah right next to him. Big unit. He's a leader from the front, and he's a leader of a defence that has not lost a game. Yeah. And considering how open and expansive they play with Frimpong playing as pretty much a right winger these days. He's not a right back. He's literally a right winger. I think having a guy like him in your defence is just a joke. It just allows you to play the type of football that they're playing. And they haven't lost. I can't do a top 10 without having a Leverkusen player, it feels like. Because they still have not lost a game.
Yeah, no, they're 32 now. 32 games undefeated. Yeah. Well, you said my guy. I went Hincapié. Again, probably looks a bit better. I had to drop out one of the defenders I wanted to get in there because of, again, I couldn't not have a Leverkusen player in this list. A bit more of the Rolls Royce, I guess, in that back three that he gets all the plaudits. So good with the ball. Actually, all three of them, Tapso, Bental, great with the ball at their feet.
Yeah, you could put any of.
Yeah, he's a good target from corners as well. I'll give that to him as well. That's probably where he's good at as well. And again, just feels like whenever they're in like a bit of doubt, they're getting counted. Pretty much one of them going to be there, but Hincapié I just feel like he's always there. He's always going to be there to break the play. And so they are a back three. None of this back three, but it turns into a 5. They basically are a back three. So the way they can do their job, and especially against some of the most attacking teams, I think the Bundesliga, I've said it, so open, so end to end. To be one of the most defensively solid teams in the world in the Bundesliga says a lot about this side. So
I had him in this morning.
And
I was like,
he tossed and turned.
I woke up, I was like, no, Jonathan Tah.
Which I understand. He's probably more the leader of men, I guess, Jonathan Tah at the back there.
But yeah, good shout.
So one Leverkusen each. Number 9.
Number 9. Maybe a bit controversial. Maybe. I've got Kanate.
We've got Kanate. Oh, I don't mind it. I don't mind.
Yeah. Ever since he's come, first season, Champions League final, he was our best defender.
Yeah.
Best player in the game, let alone best defender. He was our best player in that final. Last year, he was our best defender. Better than Van Dijk. Even this year, he's been better than Van Dijk in a lot of games. And I just think, in terms of potential, I'm not saying he will be, but I'm saying he has the potential to be the best centre-back in the league. Yeah. I generally do believe that.
Yeah.
I know there's Salibas and Ruben Diaz and all these guys going around, but we've seen it without Van Dijk. He's, one man of the match in big FA Cup games and big games. And I just think, starting centre-back for France, there's a reason Didier Deschamps plays him. And I just think he is so good, and I think he's still a little underrated because of who he's got next to him.
Yeah, he gets overshadowed by the big shadow of
But he's been better than Van Dijk in a decent amount of games this season, I think.
He was massive on the weekend as well. I think he was massive in that game. They really important performance. I went Bremer as my number 9.
Yeah, that was who I was tossing and turning about.
Again, I just think Juventus, before this little blip, have been very good. And it's been on the back of defence. We just said it before. They're a very structure and grind out to they're a results-based team. And Allegri works on results. And this guy has been, I guess, the cornerstone of that now. Last 2 years has been very, very consistent. I don't think you can point to too many bad occasions with Bremer over the last 2 years. Good sign for Juventus. Staple in that back line. Leads the team well from the back. You look at their defensive record. That basically
Yeah,
speaks for itself.
yeah, you're not
If you
wrong.
exclude the last 3 or 4 games, it's almost incredible, that back line there. And he's the one that holds it all together. So Owen Bremer is my number 9.
He was my like special mention.
Special mention.
I had him in originally at 7. I had him at
We
7.
had him all up the
originally,
high of the
but
list.
Yeah, this is
He's got a few more
Could've changed it,
ballers in there. Yeah.
There's just some that I rate so highly,
Yeah.
so it's hard. But number 8, I've got Arejo.
We got him in.
I've got him
I
in.
thought,
Yeah,
okay,
I've
yeah.
got him in. I know he's made a lot of mistakes this season, and again, that's probably the one big weakness in his game is on the ball. He does make a lot of mistakes, but again, I think giving him the captain's line ban, I don't think has helped him because
That's a good point.
I think it's put a lot of pressure on him to lead a defense where Xavi's playing this high line that doesn't suit any of the back four probably.
Yeah.
And just a team in general where no one's playing to the level that they were at last year. So I think it's a lot of pressure on him. But he's still, I love him in 1v1 situations. He's always trying to win the ball back first. He always makes the first move. He has a big presence in the air. So I had to get him in because I still think he's one of the best up-and-coming centre-backs in the world.
Yeah.
I think next year, I think he'll be back next year. To that
Once
top
they sort
four,
themselves out.
Once they sort themselves out.
Yeah.
If they have a good window, if they bring in a manager that just goes back to basics, get him in a back four, play him to his strengths. You've got a great defender there.
Yeah.
We've spoken Barca. I haven't had a good centre-back pairing since, PK Poyle and Mascherano and all these guys. Now they've got a defender that has the potential to be similar.
Long lasting as well. He's got a lot of years on his legs.
So, yeah.
All right. I'm continuing the Serie A trend with Bastoni as my number 8.
Very nice.
I wanted to get him higher, but there's some big time names ahead. I couldn't quite put him there. I still reckon, I keep saying, he's been probably one of the best centre backs in the world this season in terms of Inter. Again, look at these records. These defensive records are almost like you scratch your eye. I think, is that seriously their what is it, like 13, 14 goals? They've got something.
I think it's
stupid.
12 in the league.
Yeah, I think stupid in the league like that, like ridiculous. And you said it perfectly to start the episode off. The way they play their football, you think, how they only conceded that many little goals? And because it's likes of Bastoni at the back there, making these ridiculous challenges. Serbia, their combination they have back there.
I wanted to try and fit in a Serbia as well.
These guys, they just slide under the radar because they don't do anything special, groundbreaking, or do passing triangles at the back. But they've got the ability to pass the ball out. They make the crunching challenges. They can close spaces really well. And you're part of one of the best teams in the world. So,
that whole Inter team is so underrated.
You can, the underrated XI could have been all.
They're not spoken about because a Man City or a Real Madrid, if they match up against them and Man City or Madrid play well, then they'll beat them.
Yeah.
But if Man City or Madrid don't play well, this team can genuinely beat them.
If Man City or Real, like
it's one game.
Like a 7 or 8 out of 10.
A final, yeah.
I think they can get the better of them.
100%.
Very good side.
Yeah, very good shout.
Number 7.
I've got Gabriel.
We have a very different list, I think, because I haven't got Gabriel in mind.
Oh, no. I've got him in mind.
No.
Highest scoring centre back in the Prem this season. There's Arsenal fans saying he's been better than Saliba this season, which I think, is a huge credit to him. I think in previous years, there's always been a mistake in him.
Yeah.
There's always been, he'll give the ball away in a stupid area or just make a stupid tackle to give away a penalty. But I think this season, and majority of last season, I think he's been one of the best centre backs in the league.
Yeah.
He's a bit of a Rolls Royce. Again, when Saliba was out of the side, injured last year, there was a little drop off, but still, I mean, it's probably not his fault. He's got a bit of a makeshift defence around him if Saliba's not there. So I think he's a great player. I think Konate's on the same level as him. Yeah. I just think Gabriel has the ability to play back to back to back, like 3 games in a week. Yeah. Konate always has to take a break because of his recent injuries.
Injury problems, So, that's a good descriptor. I like that. My number 7 is someone who maybe it's a bit of personal preference here. I went David Alaba as my number 7. Yeah, someone that hasn't played too much of injury at the moment, but when he plays that Real Madrid side, it changes the whole way they have to play their football. Yeah. Talk about people who have ball playing. This is a guy that, in my eyes, can still be a fullback or a holding midfielder, but he's someone that's so good at the back for Real. And in their recent great Champions League runs, I feel like he's been a cornerstone of all those runs. Like, so consistent, doesn't put in a bad performance, great free kick taker as well. Yep. He's got all the assets to his game. And talk about Rolls Royce, I think the modern Rolls Royce, everyone talks about Saliba, you can talk about maybe the Van de Vens or the Varans, but I feel like this generation's Rolls Royce is going to be David Alaba at the end of the day because if he comes back, I don't know if he's going to make it back this season or not, but
I don't think it's an ACL.
It looks like he's
in December.
long gone.
That's why I didn't put him in because he's going to.
I just absolutely love
like,
him. He's
where you've got him like 6,
7 at the moment. Yeah, so I love what he does. Yeah. Could have had him high again if he was playing at the current point in time, but yeah, super consistent performer.
Yeah, 100%.
Always relying on David Alaba.
Very nice. 6, I've got Kim Min-jae.
Yeah, I like Kim Min-jae.
Yeah,
I like it.
Again, this year at Bayern, obviously we just touched on it. It's been very shaky, but I think he's being played in the wrong way in a back three.
Yeah,
that doesn't suit him. That doesn't suit any of them.
Yeah,
get him in a back 4. Let him lead that defense like he did last year with Napoli.
Yeah,
which made him one of the best centre backs, the best centre back in Serie A, but one of the best centre backs in the world, and which is why United and all these big clubs were interested in him. So I still think he's an unbelievable centre back, just being sort of played out of position in a way. I think he's getting caught like too high, but it's not his fault because he doesn't work in a back 3.
Doesn't work that system. No. My number 6 is John Stones, which might be a bit low for some people at home, but first some other players. No, John Stones, ridiculous. You could put him in a CDM list for all it's worth. You could put him in a.
That's the thing. He plays a bit everywhere.
Yeah, you could put him as a number 10 in the number 10s list. Feels like he's everywhere in the park. Obviously, incredible. But I think I genuinely, without trying to take the piss, that I kept that in mind though. He's sometimes in midfield. He's sometimes helping out Rodri in there. So that sort of takes away. He's not purely just a defender anymore. But when he does defend, he's quick. He's so good with the ball at his feet. He is the modern day centre back. And if you're Pep's number 1 sort of rotation floater guy, you're serious business. But I think all the ones above him are actual centre backs that play centre back week in, week out. So I kept that in mind in this list.
That's a very good. I didn't have John Stones.
You have John Stones?
I just think he's too injury prone.
That's fair. Yeah, he is.
He's very injury
He misses
prone.
games here and there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I feel like,
Yeah.
I know people are big on John Stones.
I've got him here as like part of like
the
list I had that missed out.
Yeah.
But I just think, we don't get like a consistent enough basis to see. We see it in big games and he's unbelievable as a centre back.
Back in the season last year, I think he almost made his name where
pretty much,
they just went on a great run.
I'll put him in my top 10 DMs anyway.
He can go in there anyway. He's my number 6.
Yep, very nice.
Number 5.
Top 5s. Yeah. I've got Bastoni.
You got out there, I like that. Yeah. You're good man.
Criminally underrated.
Yeah.
Probably the most underrated centre back in the world, probably.
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely.
Or if not top 3 at least. Obviously part of the Interside that won the league a couple of years ago with Conte. He's just so good at the back and part of a defence that has only conceded 12 goals in the league. You touched on it earlier. They can DeMarco and Dumfries can get so high because of that back 3. And you look at Italy and they've had guys like Chiellini and Bonucci. Now they've got one, and he's only 24 years old. So he's not even in his prime yet.
No.
He's probably another 2-3 years away. Yeah. And I hope Inzaghi, I hope this team can stay together because they're building something and
something special.
It's scary. If Real Madrid and City didn't exist,
they'd be running away with it.
Would be rated so much more higher than they are.
They'd be running away with it, I feel like. Yep. You said my number 5. I went Kim Min-jae, number 5. Nice. Got to talk about that. I think that Napoli thing has to be talked about more as well, what he did with that side there. Yep. He held that team together because what they have now is you can see the hole that Kim Min-jae had there, trading the ball, really good in that system. And they worked really well as a back four in that system there. And obviously, as you said, recently it hasn't looked as great at Bayern, but even with Bayern, whenever he doesn't play, you feel that missing hole in that team. Yep. He's just a big presence on the field. It feels like the brick wall. You can't really go past this guy, and he's got that ability to make the challenge where he needs to if he gets caught out of place. And I can't see any bad performance from Kim Min-jae when he goes out there and plays.
Loves the last-ditch tackle.
Loves it. Little wrap around and take that ball back. So he's my number 5.
Very nice. Number 4, I've got Antonio Rudiger.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think this season, with Alaba missing a large chunk, with Militao he got injured in the first game.
All the way through.
I think he's had to have guys like Nacho Fernandez and Vazquez play at right back, and he's Camavinga at left back again. These are guys that can play those positions, but especially Camavinga, it's not their natural position. No. And he's had to hold up the fort, and they've been doing fine. But since his injury, since his hammy, they've been a little and it's understandable because they don't have any other centre backs. But again, it just shows how important he was to that team. All the talk was about Bellingham and Modric still going and Kroos and Rodrigo and all these guys. But if they didn't have Rudiger at the back this season, none of it would be possible. And even in previous years, ever since Tuchel went to Chelsea and won the Champions League with him, he's just been a different animal.
He's been incredible.
Yeah, he's been incredible. So I think he's been one of the best centre-backs in the league easily, and hopefully he's not out for too much longer.
Yeah, I love watching him play. I'm number 4, Saliba.
Yeah.
I'm number 4 because I've got really a little bit higher.
Someone a little bit higher.
Yes. Saliba, incredible. People regard him maybe as the best centre back in the Premier League. I still think he can definitely close that gap down, but I think there's still more established gentlemen above him. Yeah. But he's super consistent, a threat from the corner. Like, him and Gabriel always a threat from the corner, I feel like. And he's been pivotal to this Arsenal system. I think you saw last season, he falls out, they fall out. It basically is what it feels like. Because that back four, as much as it looks good on paper when they're all there, when he goes missing, it looks a bit like, is this really a title contending defence? Is this really going to be good enough? So in that regard, I feel like that's why he's so important. I still think, though, for the period of time and winning trophies, he hasn't got that on the other guys. I've got ahead of him, so that's why he's number 4 for me.
Yep, he's my number 3.
Yep.
Again, I put him. I didn't base it on like the team he played for and the trophies and stuff. I base it on the fact that, and it's not his fault because he had the injury last season when Arsenal were in the running, but we haven't seen him in the. Obviously, he was brilliant in Ligue 1, but we haven't seen him in the most pressure games in the Premier League yet.
Yeah.
In the last sort of 10, 12 games of the Premier League. Obviously, Arsenal haven't got there, but we haven't seen him in a semi-final of a Champions League.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him yet. So he's still, again, he's 22, he's still got loads of time for that. But the 2 I have ahead of him have just shown it in big games, shown it for a number of years, and, maybe Saliba's better than, there's an argument he's better than both of them right now, are the ones that I've got.
Exactly, yeah.
But, he's still, he's only 22. He's been in the league for a year and a half. To be considered
one of the best
one of the best in the world is a credit to him.
Says a lot to him, yeah. I went the other way around. I went Rudiger, 3.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
Bit of a shit ass. Well, I like the way he goes about it. The running and stuff. I love it.
Emi Martinez.
Yeah, a bit of that. Yeah. Takes him, and he's just he's a cool, calm, collected defender.
Yep.
Like I said, since that Champions League final, really I think he'd probably be in the top 3 since that Champions League final in terms of that's why I've got him there, because these big 3 I've got up there.
Yep. They've
all been so now for 4 or 5 years, been great. National teams, club teams, European tournaments. Like, it just feels like these guys have got the pack. They've got the lot. So, would love to see him in the Premier League a little bit longer, and I think Chelsea fans would love to see him there a little bit longer. The boy's been great for Real Madrid, and you said it perfectly. The fact he's had to play with a bit of a makeshift defence at times, and the gap that he's leaving now. Sometimes I think the best way judge a player is when they're missing, what happens to that team. Yeah. And you're totally right. They've struggled a little bit Real without him, and you play for Real Madrid. It says a lot about you and your play. So Rudiger's my number 3.
Yeah. 2 Ruben Diaz.
He's done it. He's done. Okay. Yeah.
2 Ruben Diaz. Unbelievable for City. I had Saliba in at 2, and I was sort of chopping and changing them because I think there's games where Diaz doesn't need to play, and there's not really a drop off because of how good they are. And then when Saliba doesn't play for Arsenal, it's like it's not really a title contending back 4. But again, ever since he's come to the league, he's been on par with, I think, Virgil van Dijk as the best centre back in the league, one of the best centre backs in the world. Pep Guardiola, every big game he plays, we talk about, as I just said, how he might miss a couple of games, but every big game he plays, and he starts and he plays well. He's always 7, 8 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And, he's not even that old. He's like 26, 27.
Yeah.
So
he's
still got
time
another 5, 6 years at the very, very top.
Yeah.
So
I'm agreeance. Diaz too. It's more of just a preference thing, I think. Who do you prefer? I just prefer Van Dijk. I just feel like Van Dijk's best is better than anyone.
Yeah.
That's just a simple way I think I can put it. Because they're both... Obviously, Van Dijk's had his little drop-off over a period. I think Diaz's drop-off isn't as probably obvious, but when you're surrounded by, like, the human calculator at left back and, and you got John Stones, you got Rodri, and you've got Cancelo at times, you got Walker.
Yeah.
when you drop off, it doesn't really look that bad, does it, realistically?
Yeah.
And both these guys, I don't think they've really got big mistakes in their game. Obviously, everyone's going to talk about Van Dijk's recent mistake, but that's once in a blue. I don't think they both have mistakes in their game. They're both consistent performers.
They are human.
Yeah, at the end of the day, exactly. And they're part of the two best. Like, when we look back at this sort of last 6 years, these two teams have been led by these sort of two players, Van Dijk, Diaz, and it's one of the best sort of 1-2s we've seen since Arsenal United or Chelsea, United in those early 2000 eras. So a bit of like when maybe in 5 or 6 years time we'll look back and say, geez, these guys were amazing, and I just prefer Van Dijk out of them because I just think it's that thing where like you talk about like those tackles where like he might not be anywhere near the play, but he'll just find a way to slide in, make the big challenge. Clearances off the, like even on the weekend, a few balls, Brentford getting to the box, Van Dijk heads the ball well away. Yeah.
He's not afraid to just clear it and get it out like we saw for the first goal.
Yeah.
Just get that thing
get
out
the
there.
hell out
Let's
of it.
get it to Jota and Nunes because we know how good they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously Van Dijk's my number one. Still is the best centre-back in the world in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, we can... Obviously, I am very harsh on him at times because if he played like Diaz in terms of how aggressive he was...
Yeah.
And but that's just how he plays, and he's incredible at it. And at ball at feet, he loves a diag. He loves those balls to Sullivan behind.
Yeah.
1v1, he's brilliant. He's commanding. He's got that aura about him. I can't remember forwards being one-on-one with Van Dijk and literally stopping to wait for other forwards to come. And we've seen that with Martinez in the Champions League a couple of years ago. I mean, he's just a great centre-back, and, he's getting on a bit now, but he's not one of those players that necessarily relies on his pace.
No.
It's, again, his positioning and the way Liverpool play as a team. So, still the best centre-back in the world for me.
One of the best signings, and everyone was slandering the price tag, but that's probably one of the best buys that Liverpool have gotten.
I think I was like 75 mil.
Yeah, for a centre-back out there.
I know he's good.
Yeah. It's turned out to be an absolute steal in the end. Yeah. So just going over this one more time, I'll go over mine. I went Hincape, Bremer, Bastoni, Alaba, Stones, Kim Min-jae, William Saliba, Antonio Rudiger, Ruben Dias, and Virgil van Disney.
Good list. I've got Jonathan Tah at 10, Konate at 9, Arejo at 8, Gabriel at 7, Kim Min-jae at 6, Bastoni at 5, Rudiger at 4, Saliba at 3, Diaz 2, and Van Dijk at number 1.
Very solid top 10 list.